Good morning, everyone. Virgo here. It is February 10th, 2020, and welcome to Snoop for Truth. Today, we're going to be going over Private Attorney General, so he claims, Anthony Williams, and everything in his history that suggests some really interesting stuff. All right, so Anthony Williams markets and bills himself as an innocent American hero, political prisoner, legal genius, private attorney general, sovereign peace officer, foreign diplomat, and ordained religious minister who makes mincemeat out of prosecutors, so he claims, in court, and who exposes the supposed corruption of banks, law enforcement authorities, courts, judges, and lawyers. But none of this is actually so. Anthony Williams is actually a very violent career criminal, a fraud and a thief with a long history of severe mental illness. Williams is currently in prison facing even more felony charges and will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. Now, Anthony has some interesting career highlights, so much so, as a matter of fact, that we put them from the most interesting to the least interesting, starting off with the following. In first place, from 2013 through 2016, Williams targeted homeowners facing foreclosure and promised them that he could stop the foreclosure on their homes and cut their future mortgage payments in half. The catch? Williams required the homeowners to pay him an upfront fee plus an amount equal to half of their monthly mortgage payments every month thereafter. So Williams simply replaced the homeowner's mortgage holder with himself on the receiving end of the homeowner's mortgage payments every single month. Thereafter, Williams did nothing to stop the foreclosure of his victims' homes, and he instead diverted all of his victims' monthly mortgage payments to his own personal use. Williams continued to pocket his victims' monthly mortgage payments until the homeowner's properties were foreclosed upon and his victims were evicted and rendered homeless. When they were finally caught, Williams pretended that he was the victim of the corruption on the part of the banks, law enforcement authorities, courts, judges, and lawyers. Williams engaged in this pattern of fraud and theft to the tune of 200 different properties or victims in the state of Hawaii alone, not including the additional properties and victims involved in the same foreclosure rescue scam in the state of Florida. What you're looking at currently is the case that was filed on March 28th of 2018, and this case is out of the District of Hawaii. This case will give you the information with regards to this foreclosure scam. It tells you all about the wire fraud. It tells you all about the mortgage enterprise investment group. It tells you virtually everything you need to know about this case. I want to thank SovsitBullshit.com for being able to pull this information. Also on sobsitbullshit.com, the links of all of this will be in the comment section pinned, by the way, you guys. As of 6/22/18, this document was part of the evidence, and it's showing all of the different information that was on the handouts and the website that he used in order to fool his victims into believing that he could stop a foreclosure. In second place, we look to trackingmoreaus.com, who has drafted up a blog with regards to Anthony Williams. And the title of that specific blog is The Wallet Bible of Son of Man Prophet Anthony Troy Williams. Thou shalt not steal unless you are a card-carrying private attorney general with diplomatic immunity. This is second place on the list of offenses. And this was on June 7th, 2016. Anthony Williams actually sued himself in the mistaken belief that he could collect a fortune from his imaginary U.S. Treasury account by suing his imaginary straw man himself. But Williams could not figure out a way to serve his lawsuit on his imaginary straw man himself. So the judge eventually dismissed the case because it was never properly served on the defendant himself. One clever observer commented that Williams' imaginary straw man must have been evading service of the lawsuit by fleeing from himself. On December 21st, 2013, Anthony Williams was arrested and booked in Fulton County, Georgia, with felony first-degree aggravated rape of a child with extreme cruelty and excessive pain. This arrest file that you're looking at from arrestfiles.org gives you an indication of how serious this was. As you see, the charges on here are ones that you don't often see. With regards to this case, so that additional information can be obtained, those files have been ordered, and we will go over them with you at a later date when those files have been received.
Quite a scene in court today as a man facing extradition under child molestation charges accuses everyone from the sheriffs all the way to the judge of injustice.
You will be charged as soon as I get out. I promise you that. You understand who I am.
That is Anthony Williams accusing deputies of physically and verbally attacking him. Hawaii's Attorney General says Williams calls himself, quote, private attorney general and was illegally practicing law here in the islands. Turns out Williams is wanted in Georgia, charged with felony child molestation. Williams says authorities there never should have charged him in the first place.
I heard you say that both your son and yourself were charged.
No, we are falsely charged. I'm saying who Georgia has charged officially is not me. It's a legal fiction, all capital letters, Anthony Troy Williams. That's not me with the Social Security number. I do not have a Social Security number. That's who they're charging. That's not me.
Today, a judge delayed the rest of Williams' extradition hearing until tomorrow as the state waits for more fingerprints to verify whether Williams is indeed the person who is charged in Georgia.
In fourth place, in late 2005 or early 2006, Anthony Williams was arrested and booked in Douglasville, Georgia, with felony aggravated stalking, felony family violence with battery, felony obstruction of justice, hiding from law enforcement authorities, and those files, in addition to the third place files with the aggravated assault of a child, have also been ordered. Note that this is not a duplicate of that particular proceeding that I just read to you with regards to the aggravated assault of a child. Fifth place, in 2015, Anthony Williams was convicted in Florida of the criminal battery upon and tampering with a witness and victim. In sixth place, in or about October of 2019, while in federal prison in Hawaii, Anthony Williams wrote to an Indiana woman and ordered her to post all over the web the photographs, names, and addresses of all of the judges, prosecutors, and law enforcement officers that were involved in the Hawaii federal prosecution against him for his phony foreclosure rescue scam, so that his surrogates could threaten, intimidate, or kill them for doing their jobs. Judge this behavior in light of the two preceding cases that I just spoke to you about, and it's quite concerning. And take a listen quickly to the statement that the U.S. Marshal makes to the Indiana woman who Anthony Williams doesn't even bother to think about the amount of trouble she could get into for obstructing justice.
Really know. We talked on the phone, but he didn't really say. I thought it was up there for, I know in Hawaii, it was something on the video saying it was something about a molest, and then they got it dismissed. And I don't know what he went back up there for, because something in Florida went down, and then he got sent to Hawaii.
Correct.
So I'm totally confused.
Okay, so have you ever met Mr. Williams, or do you just know him through social media or an acquaintance?
I've met him before.
Okay. So basically, I have the email that he was supposed to send to you. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but in it, I'm going to let you know, he said that go ahead and start the petition, okay? That's what he's saying. But later in the ending of the email, he asked you to get all these photos of these agents, judges, and some attorneys that's assigned to his case, and he wants you to post them all over the internet, social media, YouTube, Instagram, what have you, to expose these people that are working this case, okay? So that's what his message is being sent to you. So my job was to just follow up to see if you received this and if you were going to post these pictures.
Well, if I can get some pictures, I don't really have time to do all of that, but I'm very busy.
Okay, and I'm sorry to talk to you, man, but the reason why I get involved is because the federal prosecutors in this case, they take a lot of things seriously, and when they saw this type of response that he was giving back to you, they wanted me to get in contact with you and let you know that if you go ahead and post these types of photos, pictures, information about the people involved in his case, they would look to charge you federally for federal crimes of obstruction.
In seventh place, in June of 2016, Anthony Williams threatened government officials with deadly force when writing, "Any man or woman who tries to restrict and violate my constitutional, divine, and common law rights will be met with deadly force." Capital letters in the original are located here with this copy of the original, and you can see this right here shows exactly what I just read to you. If I don't get the respect I deserve from this day forward, I and my law enforcement team will take it by force! Exclamation point. And this information is all in this copy of the letter that you can take a look at for yourself. The link will be pinned to the comment section for you so that you can read the entire letter. As you can see, this is part of the evidence that was actually obtained by the prosecution. In eighth place, on May 17th of 2017, Anthony Williams was arrested and later convicted and sentenced for first-degree grand theft for stealing a semi-tractor trailer containing cargo valued at more than $100,000, for engaging in fraudulent mortgage transactions of more than $50,000 with 5 or more victims, for filing false documents against real or personal property, first offense, 2 counts. Williams was found guilty, convicted, and sentenced to 15 years in prison and 15 additional years of probation. In ninth place, in or about April of 2001, Anthony Williams was arrested, indicted, convicted, and imprisoned by the state of Georgia for theft by taking. Judge this conduct in light of the case that I just read to you. 10th place. On December 12th of 2011 and again on August 2nd of 2012, Anthony Williams was arrested by the state of Tennessee for the criminal impersonation of an officer, a charge Williams should have been arrested for several times in several more states in connection with him repeatedly pretending to be a sovereign peace officer while wearing a fake badge, handcuffs on his belt, and a holster bearing a service revolver, effectively a law enforcement costume. In 11th place, in November of 2015, Anthony Williams was convicted, sentenced to 6 months in jail and 22 years probation, cuffed and jailed for impersonating an attorney and for pretending to be a private attorney general, which term actually means a client of a real attorney, and for practicing law enforcement without a license. Williams' 22-year probation was expressly conditioned upon him not referring to himself as a private attorney general, among other things. But Williams continues to refer to himself as such in writing in virtually all of his court filings in the federal case against him in Hawaii, thereby willfully violating his probation in this case, another felony. See, for a moment, this 3-minute video of him in court.
It was a one-of-a-kind battle in a Broward courtroom. Prosecutors facing off against a man defending himself.
A man who claims he doesn't need a license to practice law, whose arguments would the jury believe? It's tonight's edition of Carmel on the Case.
44-year-old Anthony Williams was all smiles in court, charged with practicing law without a license.
Very simply, the state intends to prove through the presentation of evidence and documents that Mr. Williams is pretending to be a lawyer.
Williams operates an internet-based law firm. He was accused of acting as an attorney after he filed documents in a foreclosure case. Williams calls himself a private attorney general and a sovereign peace officer. Authorities call Williams a sovereign citizen. Believers think many laws do not apply to them.
You can't arrest nobody for a traffic violation.
Well, we are.
Last year, Williams posted this video of his arrest for driving without a license.
I'm also a foreign diplomat.
He says he doesn't need one. During that case, which took 8 months to conclude, he was taken to jail twice. First for failure to follow a judge's order, and then later for driving without a license a second time. In the end, he entered a no contest plea and paid a fine. But then, a month later, Williams was back in handcuffs, this time facing felony charges involving the unlicensed practice of law. When taken into custody at the airport, Williams was carrying his private attorney general ID, the badge, and handcuffs.
Y'all charging me with unlicensed practice of law, and I'm trying to understand what law are you charging me with unlicensed, because there's a whole bunch of law.
At trial, Williams represented himself.
The state has been very deceptive and misleading in what the real law is in the state of Florida.
He spent much of the time arguing with the judge.
And I've never given legal advice. I only give lawful advice. And there's a difference between legal and lawful.
You're arguing apples and oranges.
It took the jury 1 hour before returning the same verdict on all 10 charges.
The defendant is guilty of unlicensed practice of law as charged in the information.
It was bad news for Williams, and it was about to get worse. Judge Andrew Siegel sentenced him to 180 days in jail, 22 years probation, and ordered him to turn over his badges and ID.
He's prohibited from calling himself a private attorney general, an attorney, or implying in any which way, shape, or form that he has any ability to practice law.
As his supporters listened, Williams lashed out at prosecutors.
Both y'all state attorneys are crooks. Both y'all criminals, and y'all don't pay for what you did. The jury was rigged. I will find out. And both y'all going to jail.
But it is Williams who is in jail now, and he has more to think about than this case. According to authorities, he is currently being investigated for mortgage fraud. Carmel.
In 11th place, Anthony Williams appealed his January 13, 2012 Tennessee conviction for driving without a driver's license and alleged on appeal that he does not need a driver's license to drive a motor vehicle unless he is engaged in commerce, and that the state requirement of a driver's license violated his right to interstate travel. The court held otherwise and upheld the conviction. What you're looking at currently is the state of Tennessee versus Anthony Troy Williams in the Court of Appeals in Tennessee at Jackson, discussing that case and upholding the lower court's decision. Please note that this is the imaginary defense and the very same thing that is peddled by fake retired federal judge Rodney Dale, or otherwise known as Judge Dale, class, fake former deputy sheriff Eddie Craig, and fake constitutional scholar Carl Miller. Real name, Richard Champion.
Okay, so it says do not detain, do not arrest. Who gives that authority?
The FBI.
The FBI tells you that you can't be arrested.
All you got to do is call them, sir, and they'll tell you.
They'll tell you I can't arrest you for anything.
Unless I violated the law and committed a crime where injured party.
Most United States citizens are afforded that opportunity.
Well, no, they're not, sir, because most of them.
I can arrest people for no reason.
That's the license. That's what they do. So when I'm traveling, I have to have my own tags. Yeah, when I'm traveling, I can't use somebody else's tag.
Says who?
What do you mean says who?
Says who? Who gives you that authority?
The Constitution gives me that authority, sir.
Okay. Well, the state of Florida has rules that if this tag is registered to this vehicle, it has to be on this car.
But state of Florida does not trump the Constitution.
Okay. Well, you know what you're going to have to do then? You're going to get tickets, and then you're going to have to fight it in the state of Florida court.
Oh, I have no problem fighting a ticket.
Excellent.
A ticket means nothing because you cannot ticket someone for exercising a constitutional right.
Okay.
See, I'm exercising a constitutional right to travel.
Okay.
Now, and this is the problem that I have with law enforcement agencies that really aren't very versed in the law. And see, this is what you all are thinking. You all think this is a motor vehicle. And see, this is what they're having to all the customers, all the clients in Florida to register their automobile as a motor vehicle, and that's wrong. The Supreme Court case, City of Dayton versus DeProse, specifically states that the term motor vehicle is a broader and different term than the word automobile. See, automobile meaning you're not traveling for commerce or for pay. Motor vehicle means you are. That's the difference. And see, that's why I usually send a letter to the chief and the sheriff. I just weren't too long got here. So I'll be sending a letter to your chief of police and your sheriff so they can understand who I am, why I have to have my tag on whatever car I'm in.
Now, who issued this tag to you?
Who issued it?
Eric Holder issued this one?
No. Now
it's private.
Yes, private. Yes, private attorney general. Yes, private.
Let's run his driver's history. Let's see where he's at. Just stand by for a few minutes.
Where do you have a driver's license?
I don't have a driver's license.
You don't have any driver's license in any state of the United States?
No, sir. You not have it. That's why you can call the FBI. So that'll put all this up.
Okay, well, we're not going to do that.
So you're not going to call the FBI to verify who I am? Are y'all serious?
You should have an ID to prove who you are.
That ID proves who I am.
Sir, do me a favor, put your hands behind your back right now.
Put your phone down.
Right now.
We'll record everything, don't worry about it.
Let go.
What am I being arrested for? So you can't arrest nobody for.
In 12th place in early 2015, the judge presiding over Anthony Williams' criminal case for aggravated battery and with tampering with a witness ordered Williams to undergo a psychiatric examination. In 13th place, on 4/11/2018, being sympathetic to Anthony Williams because of his obvious mental illness, the prosecutor that was prosecuting Williams for his phony foreclosure rescue scam in Hawaii moved for Williams to undergo a court-ordered psychiatric examination on the grounds that he is obviously mentally ill. The information on that particular docket information will be located pinned to the comments section, and what you're looking at right now is that request and declaration. In 14th place on March 25th of 2018, and then again on April 5th of 2018, Anthony Williams claims to be a victim of spiritual warfare using numerology and gematria. Here's the proof of that. As you can see, he's handwritten out this statement, and you can see that he is claiming spiritual warfare. You can also see, amongst other things, that he is claiming Satan has disguised himself as judges. 15th place shows that on March 23rd of 2015, Anthony Williams was judicially declared a serial filer of frivolous lawsuits, also called a vexatious litigant, such that he can be banned from filing future lawsuits unless represented by an attorney at law, a real one. In 16th place, as of today, Anthony Williams has lost upwards of 90 consecutive cases in a row, and we're still counting. Let's take a look at some of the mugshots of Anthony Williams. In this one, you will see this is out of Fulton County, Georgia. This is on the felony child assault and extreme cruelty to a child. Next, we have Broward County, Florida. This felony violation was of the community control violation of probation, felony grand theft, felony theft of a semi-tractor trailer with contents that were valued over $100,000, filing false documents against property, no bond, hold for U.S. Marshal to Hawaii to face charges for foreclosure rescue fraud. Another from Broward County, Florida, again, felony violation of community control, violation of probation, felony grand theft, felony theft of a semi-tractor trailer with contents valued over $100,000, filing false documents against property, no bond, hold for U.S. Marshal to Hawaii to face charges for foreclosure bond. And we continue on with Broward County mugshots. On this one, this is with regards to practicing law without a license in Broward County, Florida. These charges are unbelievable. These are all charges out of Broward County. Now taking a look at some of the news articles that have been specifically written on Anthony Williams. This is the Hawaii Free Press. As you can see, it says mortgage relief scheme had bogus lawyers, Hawaii says. And of course, if you read the headlines, here's another. News 7 Miami. And another. And another.
At 6. This was a classic case of a mortgage rescue fraud.
Only on Hawaii News Now, the FBI is investigating a mortgage scam that duped dozens of people on Maui out of thousands of dollars. State regulators have shut down the business they claim preyed on financially distressed homeowners.
A bankruptcy judge has also issued fines against an Oahu man accused of playing a key role in the scheme. Rick Daysog has the exclusive.
53-year-old Henry Melanie of Aiea says he filed for bankruptcy protection last year to protect his assets from creditors. But consumer protectors say he did it to avoid paying back people he scammed.
Because his conduct was considered so egregious, so outrageous, the bankruptcy court awarded the state $200,000 in penalties.
Melanie was also ordered to pay back $74,000 to 19 homeowners on Maui. Most of them were Filipino immigrants who were told that they could stop making mortgage payments just like this woman.
They're sending me a letter that they're going to foreclose my house. And I don't want to lose my house. I have to borrow money from my mom.
Now we've learned that the FBI is investigating. Melanie wouldn't talk on camera, but told us he was questioned by federal investigators 8 months ago. His attorney says he's not the ringleader.
He was clearly a victim in this case. He was drawn in by a couple of sharp, I call sharp businessmen. The real culprits are still out there. The main guy made him a patsy.
This is the man they blame, Anthony Williams, who's now on the mainland. The consumer protector and bankruptcy judge found that Melanie was a knowing and active participant. He's appealing the bankruptcy court's decision. Rick Dasog, Hawaii News Now.
And more. See, he was the ringleader with regards to a lot of this, and had many people that were doing his dirty work for him, as he does with all of the pro Anthony Williams propaganda that's across social media. That's a whole different story that would require an entire other video, but as you can see, there are a lot of people that he has doing his dirty work for him. There are also a multitude of YouTube videos that he has out there where he's engaging in this hoax for many, many years. If you would like that additional information, there will be a link where you can locate all of the links that I've shown you today, plus all of the YouTube videos that he has engaged in this hoax in. That will be located in the comment section of this video. As stated, Williams has over 90 cases that have been tried against him, all to be total losses that we've found so far, and we're still looking. For years, Williams has been idolized and worshipped as a Messiah-type figure, savior, and legal guru in the eyes of the uneducated amateur legal theorists and uneducated sophsits. But Williams is no such thing. Williams, like other amateur legal theorists and gurus that we have investigated in the past, such as Rod Class, Carl Miller, Carl Lentz, Lyle Hartford Van Dyke, etc., Anthony Williams has been ordered by the courts to undergo extensive psychiatric examinations for obviously appearing to be mentally ill. Mental illness including insanity, paranoid, schizophrenia, and delusions. Narcissistic personality disorder in this individual is very, very obvious. They're common threads among all of the legal gurus, unfortunately, that we've investigated to date, as well as many of their followers. If you'd like to take a look at all of the cases, and I do mean all of them, that we were able to locate, generally almost 90 of them, actually it's over 90 of them at this point, there will be a link in the comment section that is pinned there for you to be able to go to, and then you can take a look at every single one of these criminal records and cases that we were able to pull. We all know that Snoop for Truth does an amazing amount of research on these individuals, and there simply was too much on Anthony Williams to put everything in a video. Snoop for Truth is a legal expert and whistleblower who exposes online hoaxes. Snoop for Truth does not reveal this information to harm Anthony Williams, but instead, Snoop for Truth revealed this information solely for the reduction of catastrophic damage that such intentional fraud inflicts upon the American people every single day. Had it not been for Anthony Williams pretending to be a private attorney general, Snoop for Truth would have not revealed any of this information here at all. The message from Snoop to all of these charlatans and hoaxers is to just tell the truth. The truth does not fear investigation. Only lies fear investigation. The truth can be supported by using truth. Only lies must be supported by using hoaxes and other lies. There is no such thing as a good reason to intentionally defraud the American people, not even to make a popular and sensational conspiracy theory appear to be true. I hope you enjoyed Snoop for Truth today, and everybody have a wonderful day.